Like coffee gave you life. It gives you that energy you need. But music does the same thing. It
Mhm.
comforts and hugs you when you're sad, when you're energetic. It's a great thing to crank up when you're in a car driving down the road with the windows down. It gives you this life that you're so happy and so energized. You don't want to sleep. You want to live.
Welcome to Wildly Unplug, sharing stories of nature, conservation, and creativity. Discover what develops when you unplug and step outdoors.
Hey, Brian, thanks for being on the show today.
Thank you for having me. Very excited.
I'm excited too, and I've listened to a couple of your songs, and I'm really curious what made you decide to go into the music industry? At what point did you realize that you wanted to start building a life around this?
God, since I was a kid, it's somehow inbred in me. I had a fake drum kit, so I was always doing concerts in my room. So ever since I was a kid, this is what I wanted to do. But then I got into DJing because I didn't know where else to go or to start. So that was my way of being a rock star in the beginning. It was just DJing, entertaining crowds. And then from there, I went into the business of music and I started managing shows and doing productions and managing artists and so on and so forth. So I toured for a good number of years all over the place, managing other artists' career. And songwriting was always one of those things that was I've been doing since I was like 10. Bon Jovi was one of my favorite bands growing up. And I remember in an interview him saying, if you want to be a rock star, you got to write your own songs. So at 10, I was writing love songs, not even know what love was, but I was writing these songs. And over the years, I just kept working on the craft, just doing it to do it. And I remember I wrote this song called Hold On, and it's this father daughter song for a wedding, which I actually got to play at a wedding and perform. It was pretty cool. But I gave it to a friend of mine, and she read it and cried. She read the lyrics, and it reminded her of her dad. And that was like really the first moment I was like, maybe I'm on to something as a songwriter. If I'm able to impact somebody just by them reading my lyrics, who knows what could happen. And this past year, we're in what, 26? So at the end of 24, or some point in 24, I had enough songs for this idea of a concept album called Heart Matter. And I wrote the song. The last song I wrote for it wasn't the second last song was the song Valentine. And I was going through my catalog and I'm like, I have all these songs that could be a concept album. And I needed one last song, and it was a song called Heart Matter. And I wrote it in 20 minutes. It happened just very fast. One day out of nowhere, I'm writing. And that's how it came to be. So I'm like, I'm gonna do it. I'm jumping in with both feet, and I'm going to take a slight break from managing artists and things like that and do something that I've always wanted to do. And it's more of a bucket list than anything else. Not striving to be that rock star, but I do want to be able to write songs for other people and so on and so forth. So with this album, it's me singing, writing, and everything and performing on the album, which I have a few songs that are released, like Enough and Lines That Define. I had other people singing. And every time somebody listened to it, they were like, "This great song. Is that you singing?" I'd be like, "No." And I'm not a vocalist, but I realize there are people way worse than me. And why it's just something I wanted to do. I hope it inspires other people to step out of their comfort zone and do something they're not comfortable doing. Singing is not my forte, but to be able to perform everything and sing on this album, it was just something I wanted to do. It's a bucket list. So I'm forcing myself to do something that I don't know if I should or shouldn't do, but I'm doing it anyway.
The best place to be. That's awesome. Yeah, I am a huge Jimmy Buffett fan, and I've had people many times tell me that he's not the best vocalist or whatever, but he's a storyteller. And I
That's
think
it.
that's why people keep going back to his music. Now, you did sing on Valentine?
I did. That was me.
Okay,
Yeah.
yeah, I would never be able to tell that you're quote unquote not a vocalist. I thought it was great. It almost reminded me of if the Beatles and Bob Dylan meshed together. It was like that vibe that I was picking up.
That is the hugest compliment anybody's given. So thank you so much for that. It's exciting. Well, and the funny thing is now that I'm exercising my voice more and more, I'm singing way better than I did when I did that song. So I'm looking forward to the future of recording more songs with my voice on them. And I'm still testing the waters about performing live, but I'm excited to possibly do that as well here and there.
Yeah, you should totally try it. That would be really cool.
Thank you.
When you said the song came out of nowhere and you just started writing down, does that happen to you often? Do you know when inspiration strikes, or you just know, I got to write this down?
It's a combination of both. Like Valentine, the song you heard, I wrote that after going on a Valentine's date. I was on a date and it was the end of it, and I was there and I was like, I have no desire to be sitting here with the person I'm with. It just, there was nothing there. It didn't click. And I went home later that night and I wrote the song Valentine. And that's when I was like, that was the song that it just clicked to me so well that I had the melody in my head and everything. And I was like, I'm doing it. I'm doing it. So there I am.
That's great. How do you feel like your identity has changed when you were managing people versus doing music on your own?
I'm actually having an identity crisis on the whole thing, to be honest with you, because I don't know. Because most artists have this persona and they have their stage presence that I don't know what that is. I'm still trying to figure out who I am as an artist. I know who I am as a songwriter. I know who I am as a manager, but to be that guy that somebody looks at and I want to be a fan of you. I don't know. I'm just trying to be as authentic as I can be. And maybe it'll just organically come out of like how that's going to portray to everybody else. But I have had that thought of like, even when I do a little photo shoot, I'm thinking of what should I wear or how should I look? And this, and so that's I keep hitting that crossroad of who am I as an artist? I don't know.
Only one way to find out is get out there and do it for sure.
Mm-hmm.
And I think you're right. I think you have to be authentic. I think that's what people will relate to the most.
Yeah, and I write from a place of there's a lot of songs that I've written about other people, and there are songs that I've written about my experiences. So it's being able to be relatable. I want somebody able to listen to the song and be like, I can relate to that, or this song helped me get through that problem. And I just have this natural ability to tap into other people's emotions sometimes. And I have written songs and presented it to friends, and they were like, I couldn't have even said that. I couldn't even, how did you, like, and I don't know. I'm just a very empathic person to where if I can feel what you're feeling, I can tap into that and I know how to write it.
What type of story do you feel like you convey the most through your music?
It's a good question. I think life, the struggles of life, and the optimism of life in a way. But like with this album that I'm working on trying to get out, it takes you at the journey. So I'm doing it in two parts because I have Christmas music that I'm working on too. So I want that to come out. But this first half is the journey of when you fall in love, when you meet somebody, and how excited everybody is. There's a song called Who Do You See about wanting to know what the other person thinks of you. Like when you first meet them, do they like you? Do you feel the same about them? And that was that song. And then I wrote a song called My Chase, which is about, and that started off as a poem, but it was about chasing love and that feeling when you first meet somebody. That's the feeling you've been chasing your whole life. And I wanted that to narrate what everybody's feeling. And I think everybody would relate to that. You meet somebody and they inspire you and all these things. So I take those references and put them into a song. So I really just try to be relatable for everybody.
I love how each song tells its own unique story, and it sounds like the album's going to build upon each
Right.
story and tell a whole concise thing. That's really neat. It's a cool
Yeah,
idea.
it was, and it just organically happened. I didn't plan to put this album together that way. Like when I was looking at the songs that I've written and that I could put a concept together, then when I started placing the songs, I'm like, this is a journey. This is the first half, and part two will be the less glorious side of the heart matter, the heartaches, learning to let go, rejection, all those. It's the opposite side, but still pertaining to matters of the heart. So I really did, and that's why I wanted to split it up into two EPs, because I want you to have the first half that tells that story, and then a second half where people can relate to the heartache, the heartbreak, and learning to let go. And because that's a hard thing when people have a breakup and they want to walk away, they have to learn how to just let go and walk away. And I'm hoping that helps.
That's such a neat concept because they can listen to the whole two parts or just focus on the happy if that's the mood they're in, or focus on the sad. It reminds me of Titanic when it was on VHS in the two parts, and the first half's happy, and that's the only
Mhm.
one I would watch. But yeah, people can choose how they listen to your music. That's really neat. Have you thought about going back to your songs that you wrote as a child and revisiting them and actually making them into a song?
I do often go back through my catalog and I'm like, wow, it's really good. How did I write that? And just forgetting that you even wrote them. So, like last year, I wrote over 70 new songs. And this
Wow.
year, I'm probably close to 30 more that I've written this year alone. So something clicked in me that just started to just pump out lyrics. And it could happen anywhere. Sometimes when I'm sleeping, I'll wake up and grab my phone and I start typing. Or I'll be out somewhere and I'll pull over and just, it's when it hits me, that's what. Often I try to get it down, but there are times where I'll be walking through the house, something pops in my head, and I'll be like, all right, I'll write that down in 10 minutes and completely forgot everything.
So you said you wrote over 70 songs this year. And do you think that is the secret to being a good storyteller in your lyrics, is just keep writing and keep practicing?
I think it makes you better for sure. I think I can write a song better now and quicker than when I first started. Yeah, it depends on the subject matter too. It's what you're going through in life and what other people are going through in life. I think that's what makes the bigger difference. What is everybody going through in life and how are they handling their problems? And one of my best friends went through a difficult time this past year and I was able to just connect and see, tap into his struggles and what he was going through and then write those songs.
Nice. Have you told him that they're inspired by him?
Yeah. Actually, we got to sit down and write the music to a few of them. So it
Wonderful.
was a cool experience because he's a musician as well. So we're able to, and that's the beautiful thing when you have friends that are musicians, you can tapping into their world and collaborating. And I have a new producer that I've been working with, I've done 2 songs with, and it's been such an amazing experience writing with and recording with another person on top of somebody that I'm already working with. And it's coming out great. It's great when you can connect with somebody and it just clicks.
When you are producing your album, do you go into a studio or are you doing that at home?
I go to 2 of my friends. My one friend has a studio at his house, and this guy, Nick, that I'm working with now, built a brand new studio at his place called Black Walnut Studios, and he's going to start doing more stuff with his own studio. So it's exciting, and I'm setting up my own little home studio now. I'm in the process of doing that. So at least I can get some demos down, and when I get into the studio, I'm a little more prepared than starting from scratch.
When you said demo, it just threw me back in time to when people would record on tapes when they're trying to hand them out to producers and stuff like that. How do people get their demos out now? Is it through email or?
Email. One of the clients that I manage, a band called Slideways, I'm in that process of shopping record labels or negotiation with one as we speak. But I email them. We have links that all their songs are on, and I'll send them the links and so on, and just ship it out and see what happens. But some people still do take a CD and make it or a USB drive and physically mail it to the record label. It's a good way to stand out if you want to.
Yeah, I imagine you get so many emails in a day, something physical might stand out a little bit more. I was gonna say if it was a CD, I don't even know how I'd play a CD anymore, but a USB drive's a good idea.
My car still has a CD player, and I have my old MacBook, which I still have, that I kept. It barely works, but this DVD drive CD thing still works, so I can pop stuff in there. So I went camping, I think last year or the year before, and then we had a campsite that had electric, and I brought that computer just in case it rained or something. We could all
Yeah.
sit in the tent and watch a movie, and that's what we did because it did
Oh,
rain. So
that's great. That's important because what if something happens? You need to be able to.
I've lost power at my house, and when you
Mhm.
can't watch TV because you have no cable or internet, you pop in a DVD and you watch it. So I've kept my DVDs. I'm old school. Even I stopped DJing, but even up until the end of DJing, I was bringing physical CDs with me instead of just doing it from a laptop. And people would be like, "Why are you bringing these?" I said, "Because I've seen too many laptops crash during a wedding." I says, "I don't want that happening to me. If something fails, I got to have a backup."
That's smart.
And
And I guess there have been a couple songs I've bought on Apple Music or whatever, and they
Mhm.
decided one of them was a Skillet song called Anchor. And I love that song, but they decided we're not going to play that in the US anymore. So now I don't have access to a song that I bought. What are your thoughts and feelings on that?
I'm a big fan of having your own music on your own website too, and let fans buy it directly from there.
Mm,
And then because you own that content, unless you're with a record label or publishing company, and if they own the masters, then it's up to them. But for independent artists, I really think that's the smartest thing to do is have your music on your website where people can download it and listen to it whenever they want. And you're making 100% of that revenue. If you sell it for 99 cents, boom, you just made 99 cents on your song.
nice.
Where on Spotify, you got to have a lot of streams to make some money. So I think in your case, if you were a fan of that band and they had their music on your website, you'd still be able to listen to it.
Yeah, that's smart. That is smart. Do you do stuff on TikTok or Instagram?
I hate it. I hate it. I'm trying to get more comfortable with talking on a camera and holding the phone up and being like, "Hey." I feel like an idiot when I do it. And God bless all these kids that are on there dancing in front of a camera, and I can't do it. I'm trying to get more comfortable with doing it. So it's taking me time to do it. I manage a TikTok page for a music store called Flemington Guitar Shop, and I'll handle doing TikToks on there, but it's not me dancing and singing, and yeah, it's just content. So I'm trying to get comfortable with it. This whole process is taking me out of my comfort zone. I'm used to telling my artists here, I need you to do this. I can't do it. I'm like, all right, now I gotta smack my own self upside the head.
Have you tried treating yourself as if you were one of your artists that you were managing?
That's where the discipline comes in of getting things done and getting organized and setting out the plan for the album and so on and so forth. The album's taking way longer than it was supposed to. The guy I'm working with had some family issues and stuff like that. So it's taken a little bit longer to get the album out. Ideally, I wanted it out by this time of the year, and it just hasn't happened. We're getting there, though. We're making progress. So hopefully, in the next couple months, we'll have some stuff rolling out. We're going to finish mixing the last single of the song, the next single. So that's the next priority, is to mix that, master it, get it out, and then we can finish the rest of the album.
Very good. Now, you also have a brand called Sleepless Lyfe. Is that correct?
Yeah. So
How do you balance that ambition and also trying to avoid burnout?
So Sleepless Lyfe actually started out as a company, a coffee company that I had put together. It started originally as a drop shipping model, and I saw I couldn't scale from that. So I actually started roasting and roasting my own beans, making it, packaging it, shipping it. I became partners with the minor league baseball team, the Somerset Patriots, which is a minor league to the New York Yankees. I had my own concession stand there, and then uh, the world hit me upside the head. I lost my day job. I got laid off. The house that I was living in, the owners of the property died, so I had to move. I had family members pass away. Everything just exploded all at once. So I closed the company. And when I decided to make this songwriting venture more popular, I converted to keeping the name and adding records. So I started my own record label, Sleepless Lyfe Records, but with the idea and intention of still having a positive lifestyle brand and clothing, and putting together a positive message underneath that as well. But that was the idea, was to keep the brand alive, but to pivot in a new direction. And I really think that the music, it has never let me down. I've tried to walk away from this industry many times, and it just pulls me back in. So I said, I'm going to do what I know best, and this is keeping that brand alive. Because someday I would like to add the coffee back if I can, and if I can't, at least I'm kind of keeping it going.
I love how that name works for a coffee company, but also for music, because I keep thinking of the I Want to Rock and Roll All Night by Kiss.
It was with the life, like coffee gave you life. It gives you that energy you need. But music does the same thing. It comforts and hugs you when you're sad, when you're energetic. It's a great thing to crank up when you're in a car driving down the road with the windows down. It gives you this life that you're so happy and so energized. You don't want to sleep. You want to live that positive life. You want to live it loud, and of still having that positive undertone to a record label.
Nice. Now, other than your own songs, what is your favorite song?
Ooh, I got a couple. There is a song by Bon Jovi called Stick to Your Guns. And the lyric behind it is never give up. I've been put down many times and kicked down because people don't want to see you succeed. And that was always my mantra, was just stick to your guns and you'll get through it. And that's kind of my thing. That's my motivation song. If I need that kick in the butt, turn that song on and I'm good to go.
Nice. Was Bon Jovi from New Jersey too?
Yep.
Okay.
Sayreville, New Jersey, 20 minutes from where I lived, and still a Jersey guy. He lives 40 minutes from me.
Wow. Did you ever get to see him in concert?
I got to be a part of his tour.
Whoa, what was that like?
A dream come true. I worked with his violin player, Lorenzo Ponce, who I still thank to this day for giving me the opportunity. She gave me my break of working in the business professionally, and we got to open up several shows for him on his 2011 US Live Tour. And it was a dream come true. It's a whole world. Production office. You walk into that office, it's a locker room. But they have it set up like they've been working out of there for 30 years. Fax machines, filing cabinets, just like mind-blowing. Catering, anything you can imagine. It's a machine on wheels. It really is. And I learned a lot just from experiencing that. And that's where I started professionally. I had to then go from there and learn from the bottom back up. That's a challenge.
Yeah. What has been your favorite lesson that you learned while you were on tour?
Expect everything and anything. I was always a guy that was prepared. I was prepared for everything because I not only my first tour, I was setting not my first one, but it was the second or third one. I got hired to do all the production, manage the tour, and oversee the crew. So I would get there, I'd set up a production, I'd make sure the merchandise got set up, and you had hiccups. I've had shows where the promoter took off and ran. So we didn't get paid that night. We did eventually get our money, but didn't happen that night. So I think it was just you have to be prepared for everything and anything. We arrived in on one show in New Mexico. It was December. It snowed in New Mexico, but it was 70 degrees in New Jersey. I wasn't prepared for snow. I was in the southern states. I was ready for warm weather, and nope, it snowed, and New Jersey had the warmer weather. So you got to be prepared for everything.
That is a good lesson. Now, what is something that you wish someone would have told you before you started, or are you grateful for every lesson that you've learned along the way?
I'm grateful. The one thing I wish I could have done was get started into this business earlier, especially the business side of it. I wasted not that I wasted time DJing and everything, but I wish I could have learned more. When I started, YouTube was still just becoming a thing, Twitter was just a thing, and so I made a lot of things happen professionally in through social media, and now it's 10 times harder. So I wish that what I could have gotten into the business at a different time, but at the same time, I have no regrets because every lesson is a lesson learned. And I'm thankful for every opportunity I've ever had. This has been a dream come true. Even sitting here talking to you, I'm very honored and thankful that I get to do this. There's people that go their whole lives and don't achieve one thing. I've achieved multiple things, and I'm thankful for that. I'm very aware of the things that I've been able to accomplish.
You have such a great positive attitude. I think people are totally going to just relate to you, I think.
And I'm not going to say the woe is me, but I grew up with a lot of hardships. I'm deaf in my right ear. Why I have this in the ear, I have no idea. But I'm deaf in my right ear. I've had to overcome a lot of those challenges. When I was in school, told me I'd never get to become an EMT because of my disability. Proved them wrong. I still have another ear. I can take blood pressures. I saved 3 lives with CPR. I've
Wow.
been able to overcome everything that everybody said I couldn't do. And that's where my positivity comes from because life isn't easy. But if you put in the work, you can make it happen and you can do everything. And that's why I say I got to be on a Bon Jovi tour. Who dreams of being able to do that? I got to. I'm proof that those dreams can happen. I've worked with some amazing talent. Kreskin, who is one of my clients, in the 70s and 80s, he was an A-list celebrity. And I got to be a part of his world and manage his career. Not many people get these opportunities. As a tour manager, I've toured all over. They were paid vacations, is what I called them, because it wasn't work. It was doing what I loved doing. So if I died tomorrow, I lived a good life. It was really, and I got to write songs that people like. Okay.
Yeah, that's great. Do you think that helps to motivate you when people say, no, you can't do that?
Yeah, because I like to prove them wrong. And if I can, I'll be the first one to be like, yep, can't do it. But with this whole project of writing songs and music is for me, everything I've ever done in my life, I've done because I wanted to do it. And that's life is a journey, not a destination. And that's a stolen quote from Aerosmith, but it's the truth. You got to enjoy it because you never know when it's going to end. And
Mhm.
everything I've done because I've wanted to enjoy my life. There's things that I thought I would have done. I thought I would have been married and had kids by now. That wasn't in my deck of cards. And had I been, I wouldn't have gotten to do all the great things that I've done. So that's the flip side of looking at it. I've gotten to live this pretty awesome life, and it's still just beginning in a lot of ways. So I'm excited to see where it goes.
Yeah, you're at the start of a brand new chapter. That's amazing for you.
It's exciting and terrifying all at the same time.
Again, that's the best place to be, because if you're
Mhm.
not a little bit scared, then you're not pushing yourself.
Yeah, I was saying to friends of mine, I'm like, I just got to rip off the Band-Aid and do an open mic night and just get out there and perform a song. And I've performed before, but it was just me and a guitar. But to sing and play and people watch me,
Yeah.
is a little. I've done karaoke and I've had nothing but great compliments. So
Oh, see, there you
I don't
go.
know why I'm scared to get out and sing my songs, but I'll get there. I'll eventually do it. When
Well,
I don't
it's personal. It's songs that you wrote and you probably put
know.
your heart and soul into. I will say, and this is not the same at all as singing on stage. I did 5 minutes of stand-up comedy, and to get the applause at the end was just the biggest rush of adrenaline and the biggest high I've ever had in my life. Is that what it's like to perform for you?
Yeah, I can't imagine doing comedy because you're really waiting for a reaction. I tell my dad jokes. What do you call a bear with no teeth? A gummy bear. That gets an easy reaction. I steal the internet jokes.
We are almost out of time. Are
Okay.
you ready for the speed round?
I'm ready. I'm seatbelted in.
All right. If your current season of life was a landscape, what would it look like?
A river and trees.
Ooh. What animal do you relate to the most right now and why?
A tiger.
Ooh,
Because
why?
I'm hungry and I'm wanting to go after something that I've dreamt of since I was a kid.
Got the eye of the tiger? What's one sound in nature that instantly grounds you?
Water.
If your life was a color palette, what three colors would be in it?
Purple, blue, and white.
Ooh, it's giving Prince vibes.
He's one of the greats. But blue is my favorite color. Definitely, you have to have blue.
Yeah, blue is my favorite too. If you had a nature soundtrack, would you pick campfire, ocean waves, rainforest, or thunderstorm?
Ocean waves. Love the beach.
Same. What's one small wild thing that most people overlook but you love to notice?
One small wild thing. Wild as in how?
An ant on the ground or a certain bird
Oh,
or
yeah, I would have to say ant is definitely, but I think birds sometimes are noticed and sometimes overlooked, especially a hummingbird. If you see a hummingbird, a
mm,
beater, that's something that just piques your interest.
a good one. If you could paint one memory forever, what moment would you choose?
My dad, for sure. Definitely miss him. He's been gone 16 years now, so I would love for him to be able to see and hear what I've created because
Mm,
he was the guy that sat at my room when I did those 2-hour concerts in my bedroom. He was my number one fan, and he just sat there so I would love to have that again, for sure.
yeah. What's your touch grass activity when life feels overwhelming?
It's listening to music. When it gets overwhelming, I'll listen to music or I'll pick up my guitar and I'll just play that till I'm kind of calm.
That's a good one. Sunrise or sunset and why?
Oh, I'm gonna say sunrise. It's the beginning of a new day.
If I was up to see him, I might say sunrise.
The beach. You got to go to the beach to see the sunrises.
Yes, I'm moving to Key West, so I get to see sunrise and sunset on the beach, which is pretty
You're
amazing.
gonna love it. You're gonna love it.
It is such a great place for art and music. Like every single restaurant you go to has live singers. It's amazing. What's one thing nature taught you that people couldn't?
The sun shines after every storm. So no matter how bad life gets, it will always get better.
That just gave me chills. That's a good one. If your creativity were a weather pattern, what would it be?
Sunshine. Yeah, warm, sunny days.
I could see that talking to you. You're very positive. What plant would survive your care, or maybe not survive your care?
The fake ones. I don't know. The one I have to water the least, I think. Maybe an aloe plant, because they're kind of cool looking.
Yeah. And if your personality was a national park, what would visitors need to know before visiting?
It's a happy place.
That is lovely. Ryan, where can people find you at?
RyanGalloway.com. All my social media stuff's on there, music's on there. I used to do a podcast as well, so I have some episodes on there. It'll eventually come back, but I just have no time for it, and that's why it's ultimately stopped. Yeah, everything's there. RyanGalloway.com.
Perfect. And I'll be sure to tag that in the show notes so our listeners can hop right over and check you out. And before we go, what is one piece of advice that you have for someone that would like to reconnect with nature or themselves?
So my one piece of advice would be for people to take your headphones and go for a stroll through the park and have some you time, because you matter. So time for yourself is so important. It helps clear your head, and that would be my advice, is make time for yourself.
Perfect. Thank you so much for being on the show today, Ryan.
Oh, you're welcome. I'm happy to be here.
Until next time, unplug, get outside, and see what develops.
Wildly Unplugged podcast is a production of Wild Development Studio. The views, opinions, and statements expressed by individuals during Wild Development Studio's productions do not necessarily reflect the views or opinions of Wild Development Studio or its affiliates. Participation in any activities, expeditions, or adventures discussed or promoted during our content may involve inherent risks. It is strongly advised that individuals conduct thorough research, seek professional guidance, and take all necessary precautions before engaging in such activities or venturing into wilderness areas. Wild Development Studio, its representatives, or employees shall not be held responsible for any injury, loss, damage, accident, or unforeseen incident that may occur as a result of participating in activities inspired by or discussed in our content. By choosing to engage with our content or act upon any information provided, individuals do so at their own risk and discretion.